The great hall of the Galactic Council shone with a soft blue light. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in rising circles like a giant space theater. At the center stood Commander Jia Kim, wearing her crisp white Earth defense uniform. She looked tiny compared to the massive aliens around her, but her back was straight and her eyes were steady. High Counselor Du-1, with his tall, silvery form, leaned forward in his seat. His four eyes blinked slowly as he read from the glowing screen in front of him. Earth Case Number 7249. Assessment of survival capability following first interstellar conflict. His voice echoed through the hall. Commander Kim, you may begin. Jia took a deep breath. She had practiced this moment 100 times, but standing here, representing all of humanity, made her heart beat faster. She pressed a small button on her wrist device, and the air above her filled with moving images. Honored Council, she began, her voice clear and strong. 3 Earth years ago, the Meridian Empire attacked our solar system. They expected to conquer Earth in 7 days. She paused, allowing a small smile. They were wrong. The images showed the first day of the attack. Massive Meridian ships darkening Earth's skies. Many council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, remembering how they had watched the invasion from afar, certain that humanity would fall like so many species before them. We lost our orbital defense stations in the first hour, Jia continued. Our largest cities were hit next. The enemy thought this would break us. The images changed to show the smoking ruins of Tokyo, New York, and Lagos. Instead, it made us angry. Counselor Minho, known for his careful analysis of species behaviors, leaned forward. His crystal-like body caught the light as he spoke. Your military forces were destroyed by 60% in the first day. Your response time should have been paralyzed. Yet our records show you launched a counterattack within hours. Explain. Jia nodded. The images changed to show something that made several council members gasp. Civilian cargo ships flying straight at Meridian warships. When our military bases were hit, ordinary people didn't hide. They fought back. Cargo pilots crashed their ships into enemy vessels. Factory workers turned their plants into weapon factories. Farmers used their machines to rescue people from burning cities. The images showed more scenes. A grandmother using her small fishing boat to rescue soldiers from the sea, children running messages through underground tunnels, office workers turning their buildings into hospitals. But the most surprising thing, Jia said, her voice growing stronger, was this. The display showed hundreds of small private spaceships rising from Earth. Our people refused to let Earth's defense rest only with the military. Every private spacecraft owner, every amateur pilot, everyone who could fly joined the fight. We call it the People's Fleet. High Counselor Du-1 raised one of his hands, stopping the presentation. Commander Kim, are you saying your civilians voluntarily joined a battle against the galaxy's most powerful empire? Without military training? Without proper weapons? Yes, Counselor. Jia's eyes shone with pride. And they didn't just fight. They won. The hall filled with surprised whispers. The images now showed the final battle. Thousands of small Earth ships swarming around the massive Meridian vessels like angry bees, finding weak spots, working together in ways the Empire had never expected. We lost many brave people, Jia said softly. But Earth still stands. We rebuilt our cities. We improved our defenses. And we showed the galaxy something important. She looked directly at the High Counselor. Humanity doesn't know how to give up, even when we should. As she finished speaking, the hall stayed quiet for a long moment. Then Minho spoke again, his voice carrying a new tone of respect. In all my years of analyzing species survival rates, I have never seen anything like this. He turned to Du-1. High Counselor, I believe we need to create a new classification. The standard metrics, they don't apply here. Du-1 nodded slowly, all 4 of his eyes fixed on Jia. Commander Kim, the Council will need time to discuss this unprecedented case. Please wait outside." As Jaya walked out of the great hall, she heard the excited voices of the council members rising behind her. She smiled to herself. Earth had survived its greatest test, and now the galaxy was beginning to understand why. Humanity wasn't just another species. They were something else entirely. The waiting room outside the council chamber felt cold to Jaya. She stood by the tall window, looking out at the endless stars, when the door slid open. Counselor Minho's crystalline form sparkled as he entered. "Commander Kim," he said, his voice like chimes in the wind, "the council requires more information. Please return with me." Inside the great hall, the air had changed. The earlier whispers were gone, replaced by intense focus. High Counselor Du-1 gestured to a newly prepared display platform. "Commander," Du-1 said, "we've reviewed Earth's historical records. Show us why humanity survived when our models predicted extinction. Show us everything." Jaya walked to the platform. Her hands moved across the controls, and the air filled with new images. "Let me show you Earth's darkest days," she said, "and how we lived through them all." The first image showed massive mushroom clouds rising over cities. Year 1962. Two great powers aimed planet-killing weapons at each other. Everyone expected nuclear war. Instead, humans on both sides chose to talk. They built special communication lines just to prevent accidents that could start a war. Minho interrupted, his crystal form pulsing with curiosity. "Your species built tools specifically to avoid killing each other." "Yes," Jaya nodded. "We learned that surviving means more than just being strong. It means being wise enough to prevent disaster." The images changed to show rising seas and burning forests. 2031. Climate disasters threaten to destroy our civilization. Billions faced hunger and homelessness. The display shifted to show vast fields of solar panels, floating cities, and green buildings climbing into the clouds. We didn't just survive. We rebuilt everything to work with nature, not against it. A new image appeared, hospital wards filled with sick people. 2020. A global pandemic spread faster than we could track it. But look what happened. The display showed scientists working together across borders, people helping neighbors they'd never met, and communities finding new ways to stay connected while staying apart. In just 1 year, we created new medicines that usually take a decade to make. When we must adapt, we do it faster than anyone thinks possible. The council chamber remained silent as Jaya continued through each disaster: economic collapses, natural disasters, and social upheavals. With each crisis, she showed not just survival, but transformation. "But the greatest test came when we first met alien life," Jaya said. The images showed Earth's first contact with the Meridian scout ships. They were so far ahead of us technologically. They thought we would bow down in fear. Do-1's 4 eyes narrowed. "Yet you did not." "No," Jaya smiled. "We invited them to land, offered friendship. When they chose violence, we showed them why that was a mistake." Counselor Su-bin, the council's chief scientist, spoke up, her feathered head tilted in confusion. "Your patterns make no sense, Commander. When faced with superior force, most species either submit or are destroyed. You do neither. You." She paused, searching for the right word. "We adapt," Jaya finished. "Every time we face extinction, we change. We grow. We become stronger." She gestured to the final image, a wall in the rebuilt United Nations building on Earth. It showed handprints of different colors, sizes, and shapes, with words written in many languages. "We survived together." Minho's crystal body pulsed with intense light as he turned to the other council members. "Honored colleagues, I believe we are witnessing something unprecedented. Each of these events should have ended this species. Instead, they used each disaster as a stepping stone to become stronger." High Counselor Du-1 stood, his silver form towering over the chamber. "Commander Kim, you have given us much to consider. Humanity's path defies all known patterns of species development. We must discuss this further. As Jaya left the chamber a second time, she heard Subin say something that made her smile. Perhaps we should stop asking how they survived and start asking what they might become. The council called Jaya back for a third time. Now the great hall was darker, and the giant screen behind the council members showed the moon's surface. High Counselor Du-Won's voice was serious as he spoke. "Tell us about Luna Defense Station," he said. "Tell us about Captain Tai Sung Park." Jaya touched her controls, and the image changed to show a large space station orbiting the moon. Luna Station was Earth's last major defense point, she began. After the Meridians destroy our other stations, only Luna remained. Captain Park commanded it. The images showed a man in his 40s, with calm eyes and graying hair at his temples. He stood straight in his blue Earth defense uniform, looking at a display of enemy ships. The Meridians sent 300 warships to destroy Luna Station. Jaya continued. We had 20 ships left to defend it. Captain Park knew it was impossible to win in a normal battle. The council watched as the scene unfolded. The Meridian ships appeared like dark clouds around the moon, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Park's small fleet looked tiny in comparison. What happened next changed space warfare forever, Jaya said. The images showed Park's ships doing something strange. Instead of fighting directly, they flew into the moon's dust clouds. They used the moon's gravity to slingshot around at incredible speeds. They appeared and disappeared, striking the bigger Meridian ships and vanishing again. Captain Park remembered an old Earth saying, "If you cannot be stronger, be smarter." He turned the moon itself into a weapon. The display showed Park in the station's control room. Warning lights flashed red around him. His officers looked scared, but his voice stayed steady as he gave orders. "We lost 15 ships in the first hour," Jaya said. But each lost ship took 3 or 4 Meridian vessels with it. The Meridians had never seen these tactics before. They didn't know how to fight an enemy they couldn't predict. Subin leaned forward, her feathers rustling. Our analysis showed the Luna Station had only 6 hours of power left. Why didn't Captain Park retreat? Jaya's face showed pride as she answered. Because Earth needed those 6 hours. Park knew that if Luna Station fell too quickly, the Meridians would reach Earth before our people could prepare. Every minute he fought bought time for Earth's civilians to organize their resistance. The screen showed the battle's final moments. Luna Station was badly damaged. Only 3 Earth ships remained. The Meridian fleet, though reduced, still had enough ships to destroy them easily. Then Captain Park made his final move, Jaya said softly. The images showed Park sending most of his crew to the remaining ships. He stayed behind with a skeleton crew. The 3 ships escaped, but Park remained on the station. He turned Luna Station into a missile, Jaya explained. Used its last power to drive it straight into the heart of the Meridian fleet. The explosion destroyed 60 more enemy ships. Minho's crystal form flickered with emotion. He sacrificed himself. He gave Earth its chance, Jaya corrected. The Meridian fleet was so damaged, they had to wait for reinforcements. That delay gave us 3 weeks to prepare. 3 weeks that changed everything. The screen showed the aftermath. Earth's civilians building weapons from everyday tools. Engineers turning cargo ships into warships. Normal people learning to fight in space. Captain Park's last message to Earth was simple, Jaya said. He told us, "I give you time. Use it well." Do-Won raised all 4 hands for silence. "Commander Kim, we have seen enough death in our histories. Why do you share this tale of destruction?" Jaya looked directly at him. "Because it's not a story about destruction, High Counselor. It's a story about protection. About how far we will go to defend our home. Captain Park didn't die for glory. He died so others could live. That's what makes humans different. We don't fight because we want to. We fight because we must." The council chamber fell silent. In that silence, the image of Luna Station hung in the air, a testament to human courage and sacrifice. The 4th session of the council began differently. This time, Jaya wasn't alone. Next to her stood Dr. Eugene Kang, Earth's leading scientist on human biology. Her white lab coat stood out against the dark council chamber. "Honored Council," Jaya said, "you've seen how we fight. Now Dr. Kang will show you why we survive." Eugene stepped forward, her tablet computer glowing in her hands. Above her, the display showed something that looked like a dancing pattern of lights, the inside of a human cell. "What makes humans special isn't our strength," Eugene began, her voice clear and confident. "It's how we respond to danger." She zoomed in on the cell's center. When most species face deadly situations, their bodies break down. But human cells do something unique. The display split to show two images. On one side, an alien cell under stress. On the other, a human cell. The alien cell was falling apart, but the human cell was changing, becoming stronger. Su Bin, the council's chief scientist, moved closer, her feathered head tilted in surprise. "This cannot be correct," she said. "Cells don't improve under stress. They die." Eugene smiled. "That's what we thought too. But look closer." The image zoomed in further. Inside the human cell, tiny structures were rebuilding themselves, becoming more efficient. When we're pushed to our limits, our bodies don't just repair damage. They upgrade themselves. "Impossible," Su Bin whispered, but her eyes stayed fixed on the display. Eugene changed the image to show a row of DNA strands. "During the Meridian War, we studied survivors from the worst battles. Their DNA had changed, not just a little, but in ways that made them stronger, faster, more resistant to damage." Minho's crystal form pulsed with excitement. "Are you saying humans evolve in real time?" "In a way," Eugene nodded. "But it's more than that. We pass these changes to our children. Each generation that survives hardship becomes better equipped to face the next challenge." The display showed a timeline of human DNA changes over the past century. Each major crisis, wars, diseases, disasters, was marked by subtle but important changes in the genetic code. "But here's what's truly remarkable," Eugene continued. She brought up a new image, a brain scan. "Our minds change too. Every time we face extinction, our brains create new pathways. We don't just get physically stronger. We get smarter." High Counselor Du-One leaned forward. "Dr. Kang, are you suggesting that humanity's survival is not just about determination? That you are biologically programmed to adapt?" "Not programmed, High Counselor. We evolve. Every crisis makes us better. Every challenge makes us stronger. It's not just our technology or our will to survive. It's written in our very cells." The display showed a final image, a comparison of human DNA from before and after the Meridian War. The differences were small but significant. Stronger cell repair, better stress response, improved neural pathways. "We don't just endure," Eugene said quietly. "We transform. Every time you think we should die out, our bodies find a new way to live. It's not just stubbornness. It's who we are, down to our smallest cells." The council chamber was silent as the members studied the data. Su Bin was the first to speak, her scientific detachment cracking slightly. "In all my years of studying species adaptation, I have never seen anything like this. It's as if your entire species is designed to become stronger through adversity." Eugene shook her head. "Not designed, Counselor. We evolved this way because we had to. Earth isn't a gentle planet. To survive there, we had to become something extraordinary." Do-One's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Something extraordinary indeed, Dr. Kang. Something extraordinary indeed." The 5th session began as the sun set on the council world, painting the great hall in deep orange light. Anthropologist Hyunwoo walked to the center of the chamber, his weathered face showing years of studying human behavior. Behind him, the display screen came alive with images of Earth's art and culture. "You have seen how we fight," he said calmly. "You have seen how our bodies adapt. Now let me show you how our spirit grows stronger in darkness. The first image showed the ruins of Seoul, one of Earth's largest cities, after the Meridian attacks. The buildings were broken, the streets covered in ash. But among the ruins, something unexpected bloomed. This is what we call the Victory Gardens. Hyunwoo explained. When the Meridians destroyed our food supply centers, we didn't starve. Instead, we turned every broken building into a garden. The display showed beautiful vertical farms climbing up the sides of damaged skyscrapers. Green plants grew from every window, every crack. People worked together, turning destruction into new life. But we did more than just survive. Hyunwoo continued. He brought up new images, paintings, music scores, and poems, all created during the war. In our darkest hours, we made art. The council members watched in silence as he showed them murals painted on broken walls, concerts performed in underground shelters, and plays acted out in refugee camps. This piece, he said, pointing to a beautiful painting of Earth seen from space, was created by a 12-year-old girl who lost her home in the attacks. She painted it on a piece of broken spacecraft. Minho's crystal form sparkled with curiosity. Why make art during war? Why not focus all energy on survival? Hyunwoo smiled. For humans, art is survival. It keeps our spirit alive. When we create, we remind ourselves what we're fighting for. The display changed to show thousands of people in a damaged stadium, singing together. This happened 1 month after the worst attacks. Hyunwoo explained. 10,000 people, singing songs of hope in the rain. The Meridians couldn't understand it. How could we think of music when our world was burning? And what was your answer? Do-won asked, his 4 eyes focused intently. We sing because our world is burning. Hyunwoo replied. We create because we might lose everything. It's not a distraction from survival. It is how we survive. He showed them more images, children's drawings of future cities, novels written in emergency shelters, dance performances in military hospitals. Each piece told a story of hope in darkness. But this, Hyunwoo said, displaying his final image, this is what truly shows humanity's spirit. The image showed the Victory Gardens again, but this time at night. The broken buildings glowed with thousands of small lights. Between the gardens, people had built bridges of rope and wood, connecting each tower to the next. When the ground roads were destroyed, we built sky bridges. When we couldn't grow food on the ground, we grew it in the sky. When we couldn't meet in streets, we made new streets among the clouds. Subin leaned forward, her feathers rustling softly. You turned your ruins into a new kind of city. Yes, Hyunwoo nodded, because that's what humans do. We don't just rebuild what was lost. We imagine something better and make it real. Even in war, even in destruction, we keep dreaming of tomorrow. Do-won stood, his silver form catching the last rays of sunset. You have shown us something remarkable, anthropologist Hyunwoo. A species that finds beauty in darkness, that builds gardens in ruins. That's the real strength of humanity. Hyunwoo said quietly. Not just that we survive, but that we never stop creating, never stop dreaming, never stop hoping for better days. As the chamber grew dark, the image of the glowing Victory Gardens stayed bright, a testament to humanity's unbreakable spirit. The Great Council chamber felt different during the 6th session. The usual calm was gone, replaced by tense energy. All 500 council members had gathered for the vote on humanity's classification. High Counselor Do-won stood at the center, his silver form gleaming under the lights. We have heard the evidence, Do-won announced. Now we must decide how to classify humanity in the galactic records. Counselor Minho's crystal form pulsed with bright colors as he spoke first. Our traditional metrics do not work here. Humanity has survived 12 extinction-level events. They should have died out at least 7 times by our calculations. Subin rose next, her feathers rippling with excitement. The scientific evidence is clear. Their ability to adapt goes beyond normal evolution. Every disaster makes them stronger. It defies all known patterns. But that's exactly why they're dangerous. A voice boomed from the upper seats. Counselor Garville, known for his caution, stood up. His scaled skin reflected the chamber's lights. A species that grows stronger from conflict, that thrives on challenge. They could become a threat to galactic peace. The chamber erupted in debate. Voices echoed from every level as council members argued about humanity's place in the galaxy. Du-1 watched silently, all four eyes taking in the scene. Jaya stood quietly at the side of the chamber, watching. Dr. Yu-jin and Hyunwoo stood with her, their faces showing both hope and worry. Look at their history, Garville continued. They turned defeat into victory, destruction into art, ruins into gardens. What happens when they run out of challenges on Earth? They will look to the stars. Minho's voice cut through the noise. Yes, they will look to the stars, but not as conquerors. He projected images of the victory gardens, of humans helping each other during disasters. They grow stronger not to dominate, but to protect, to create, to explore. Su-bin added her voice. Their adaptability could benefit all species. Think of what we could learn from them. Their medical discoveries alone could help billions across the galaxy. The debate continued for hours. Some council members feared humanity's potential for growth. Others saw hope in their resilience. The chamber grew louder until Du-1 raised all four hands for silence. I have heard enough, he said. His voice carried across the chamber. We face an unprecedented decision. Our traditional classifications cannot contain humanity's unique nature. He turned to face Jia and her colleagues. Your species survives when you should die. You grow stronger when you should weaken. You create beauty from destruction. You defy every pattern we know. The chamber fell silent as Du-1 walked to the central platform. He pressed his hand to the control panel, and a new holographic display appeared. I propose a new classification, he announced. Evolutionary anomaly. Class S, with the designation, too stubborn to die. Murmurs spread through the chamber. No species had ever received a unique classification before. Those in favor, Du-1 asked. Lights began to appear across the chamber as council members voted. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Even Garville, after a long moment, added his light to the vote. The decision is made, Du-1 declared. He turned to Jia. Commander Kim, your species has earned its place in galactic history. You are the first of your kind. A species that turns survival itself into an art form. Jia bowed deeply. Thank you, High Counselor. But we don't survive because we're special. We survive because we refuse to let each other fall. As the chamber lights dimmed, the holographic display showed humanity's new classification, glowing bright against the darkness, a testament to a species that simply wouldn't stay down. After the council's vote, something unexpected happened. The main doors of the chamber opened, and a tall figure walked in. Everyone grew quiet as they recognized the purple and gold uniform of the Meridian Empire. Ambassador Rental, the Meridian Empire's representative, stood before the council. His gray skin and sharp features showed no emotion, but his voice carried a weight of respect that surprised everyone. Honored Council, he began, the Meridian Empire wishes to speak about humanity's classification. High Counselor Du-1's four eyes widened slightly. Ambassador, this is unusual. The Meridian Empire rarely involves itself in council classifications. These are unusual times, High Counselor. Rental turned to face Jia. We came to Earth thinking we would find an easy conquest. Instead, we found teachers. A murmur of surprise ran through the chamber. The Meridian Empire had never called another species teachers before. When we attacked Earth, Rental continued, we had the strongest fleet in the galaxy. We had conquered 17 systems. We thought we knew everything about warfare. He paused, a slight smile appearing on his face. We were wrong. The ambassador walked to the display controls. Images appeared showing Meridian military academies. Young Meridian officers studied Earth battle tactics. They watched recordings of Captain Park's last stand at Luna Station. In our arrogance, we had forgotten how to adapt, Rental said. Our empire grew so strong that we stopped learning. We stopped changing. But humanity. He gestured to the images. They taught us that true strength comes from growth, not power. Jaya stepped forward. Ambassador, are you saying the Meridian Empire has changed its ways? We are trying, Rental admitted. It is not easy to change centuries of tradition. But after facing humanity, we knew we must adapt or fade away. He pressed another button, showing new images. The display showed Meridian ships helping rebuild Earth's cities, Meridian engineers working alongside humans to repair the damage from the war, Meridian scientists studying Earth's victory gardens. We came as conquerors, Rental said. We left as students. And now, he turned to face the council. Now we come as allies. The chamber fell silent. The Meridian Empire had never asked to be allies with the species they had fought before. Du-One leaned forward in his seat. Ambassador, what exactly are you proposing? The Meridian Empire fully supports humanity's Class S classification, Rental announced. Furthermore, we wish to establish the first joint human Meridian Academy of Innovation. He showed one final image. A beautiful new building being constructed on a peaceful world halfway between Earth and the Meridian homeworld. Its design combined the best of both civilizations' architecture. At this academy, our peoples will learn from each other. Humans will teach us how to adapt and grow. We will share our technology and knowledge. Together, we will become something new. Jaya walked to stand beside Rental. Once we were enemies, she said. Now we can be partners in progress. The council members watched in amazement as Jia and Rental shook hands. It was a gesture humans had taught the Meridians, one that meant trust and respect. This, Du-One said softly, is perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. Not just surviving against a powerful enemy, but turning that enemy into a friend. As the chamber filled with approving voices, Jaya looked at the image of the new academy. It stood as a symbol of hope, proof that even the oldest of enemies could learn to work together for a better future. 1 month after the Council's historic decision, representatives from across the galaxy gathered for the formal declaration ceremony. The great hall shone with lights from 1,000 worlds, and the air hummed with excitement. High Counselor Du-One stood at the center of the chamber, his silver form reflecting the ceremonial lights. Commander Jedi, Kim, stood beside him, wearing her formal Earth defense uniform, with new golden stripes that marked Earth's elevated status. Today, Du-One announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall, we mark a historic moment. For the first time in galactic history, we recognize a species that has changed our understanding of survival itself. The massive display screen showed scenes from Earth's history. The victory gardens reaching toward the sky, Captain Park's last stand at Luna Station, and the new human Meridian Academy under construction. Humanity, Du-One continued, has earned a unique place in our records. Their classification as evolutionary anomaly. Class S stands as testament to their extraordinary nature. Jaya stepped forward. Her voice was clear and strong as she spoke the words that would be remembered for generations. We don't know how to stay down. The chamber erupted in applause. Even species known for their calm showed signs of excitement. Among them stood Ambassador Rental, who now wore a new symbol on his uniform, a combined mark of Earth and the Meridian Empire. Then something unexpected happened. The main doors opened, and a young woman walked in. It was Ji-Min Lee, Hae-Nul's daughter, leading a group of students. Half were human, half were Meridian, all wearing the uniforms of the new academy. These young people, Ji-Min announced, are the first class of the Human Meridian Academy. They represent our shared future. One of the Meridian students stepped forward. "We used to learn about warfare," he said. "Now we learn about adaptation, about finding new ways to solve old problems." A human student joined him. "And we learned that strength isn't about destroying. It's about building something better together." Do One raised all four hands for silence. "Let the record show that on this day, we do more than just classify humanity. We recognize them as teachers of resilience, as proof that enemies can become allies, that destruction can lead to creation." The formal declaration appeared on the screens, written in every language of the galaxy. As Jaya read it, her voice carried pride and hope. "We, the Galactic Council, hereby recognize humanity as evolutionary anomaly. Class S. Too stubborn to die. May their example inspire all species to find strength in adversity, to create beauty from chaos, and to never stop reaching for the stars." Jainin stepped forward with her students. "We are the children of two worlds," she said. "We carry forward the lessons of both our peoples, the Meridian Empire's knowledge and humanity's unstoppable spirit." The chamber filled with light as representatives from every world stood in recognition. Even Counselor Garville, who had once feared humanity's potential, now stood in respect. As the ceremony ended, Jaya looked at the young students, both human and Meridian, standing together as friends. She remembered the dark days of the war, the ruins of cities, the sacrifice of heroes like Captain Park. Now those ruins had become gardens, those sacrifices had led to peace, and former enemies learned together as friends. "We don't just survive," she whispered to herself, watching the next generation prepare to take their place among the stars. "We thrive." Outside the council chamber, 1,000 ships lit up the night sky, celebrating a new chapter in galactic history. Earth's story had become more than just a tale of survival. It had become a legend of hope, proof that no darkness could overcome the light of human determination.